Hello everyone, and welcome to this quick explanation of Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter was a super important fort outside the Charleston Harbor, which is just outside of Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston, South Carolina was the biggest port in the South and continues to be a really important port on the Atlantic or East Coast of the United States even today. Fort Sumter was part of the Union. In other words, there were Union troops at Fort Sumter even after the South had seceded from the United States. In other words, the forts where there were Union troops continued to have Union troops, but the South wanted them out of there. So what happened in this battle is you had a bunch of troops, 85 or so, led by a captain, I believe, named Anderson at Fort Moultrie. And you can see that on the map here. And they decided that was not, 85 people were not going to be able to defend that, so they moved to Fort Sumter. And then on April 12th, 1861, after several attempts saying, hey, you guys leave, we're going to attack you, on April 12th, 1861, at about 4 a.m., battle began. And basically from all sides, Fort Johnson, especially the South, shelled Fort Sumter. Nobody died, but they bombed them for 34 hours until finally General Anderson gave up, surrendered, and Fort Sumter became part of the South. This was the first battle of the Civil War, and it was a really important battle for both sides. The South saw this as like, hey, we can win the war, we won a battle, and the North said this is something we need to take back. So between 1861 and 1865, it didn't ever change hands, although you can see Fort Wagner up in the top of the map there. Fort Wagner and Morris Island were eventually taken over by the Union troops, and they basically bombed Charleston for the rest of the war. And finally in 1865, you had General Sherman, who marched through Savannah. When he did that, Columbia, the capital of South Carolina, fell, and Charleston was essentially evacuated. And so in 1865, Anderson, who had taken down the flag in 1861, and actually all the northern troops were able to go back. They didn't take them as prisoners of war or anything. They just let them go. I think they even had a 100-gun salute as they were taking down the flag. He came back, and they were able to put that same flag back up, and Fort Sumter became symbolic to the North now of the perseverance of the Union. In other words, we may have had it taken temporarily, but now we have Fort Sumter back. So anyways, if you get a chance, it's a great place to visit, and if you have any questions, please let me know. But Fort Sumter, first battle of the Civil War, and quite an important one. Take care. See you in the classroom soon.